Hey folks, welcome back to Maypole Farm and proof that miracles can indeed happen. Or 2 farm sim videos in a week. I know. Maybe twice this month. So yeah. Anywho, let's crack on. I just want to check the moisture level of the swath, which 14.6%. It's less than 15. We are good to crack on with making nice, suitably unmoist bales of silage. Now, I am not playing with sound on, so I can't hear when the baler's full, and for some reason I either have removed or it has stopped working the mod that stops the baler, so I'm going to have to manually pay attention, which sucks to be me. But anyway, there we go. So I'm going to turn on automatic bale dropping, because I think what we'll do is we'll have the we'll get the headland baled, and then I'll go grab the bale stacker and we'll pick up the bales from headland, because that will make doing the up down rows much quicker. So this month in game, not in reality, hopefully it won't take me that long in reality, but who knows with how inconsistent I am. Yeah, I can say it. You can say it, because, you know. But if I say it, it's less awkward, embarrassing, whatever the words are. This period in time in virtual farmland. What a name for a game that would be, huh? I'm sure there's probably some mobile phone based game which is called something like that. Anyway, the goal, the need, is to get the soybeans and the corn planted. So I think we have all of the lime done now, because we did that last time and we got that finished with a bit of courseplay. So what we need to do now is 2 lots of cornfield planting and some soybean planting. And what I think I'll do is, once we've got the headland baled and we've done the bale stacking, because I want to use the stire for clearing the headland, we'll maybe have a look at using courseplay to get one of the fields planted, because that feels sensible to me. Because I'd like to get ahead, because everything at the moment we've been on kind of catch up. So if we can get slightly ahead, that would be a good thing, you know. I don't think we're going to get all of this grass right into the corner. I'm not overly worried if we don't. I should have swept round the corner, but I was more interested in trying to mow everything rather than how the heck am I going to bale everything, you know. It's not a big problem. It's not a big problem. We're going to get a lot of grass off of this field. Well, we're going to get a lot of silage off of this field, which I guess is grass. Anyway, so today, for me, not today for you, unless you're a Patreon and it's been really lucky with me getting videos rendered and uploaded and all that stuff, because I'm recording this not late, but late enough that getting it rendered and uploaded is going to be tricky on Friday evening. Mrs. D is out with some friends having food, so hence me doing it now. A couple of things. One, I had an utter nightmare rendering the last video. It was the Timberborn video, but the settings that I've been using to render videos for probably the last year just stopped working. The video compression codec that I have been using for absolutely ever just is suddenly not supported, which is really annoying. So I had to go back to an older one. Yeah, kind of like I don't don't really want to if you buy the paid version of DaVinci Resolve, it's supposedly not an issue. Now, DaVinci Resolve is not updated. Weirder, it works on the computer I'm recording on now, but not on my desktop. I've not tried it on my laptop. They're both running the same version of DaVinci Resolve. They're both running the latest NVIDIA drivers. Pretty sure they both are. Anyway, I think this one is up to date. And yeah, one of them it works on, one of them it doesn't. It's an NVIDIA codec thing. But yeah, if you get the paid version of the software, support is included inherently. Any geeks, it's H.265. I tried buying an H.265 codec pack from Microsoft because it's one of the ways you can supposedly resolve it. That didn't resolve it. So I ended up going back to H.264, which means you need larger file sizes for the same size or the same quality of video. Does it really matter in the end? Not really, but it was a massive source of frustration when I was trying to render the last Timberborn video this morning, because I finished recording it relatively late, and this morning I wanted to do a quick, and the edit was quick, but I wanted to do a quick render before I started work, so that I could get the video uploaded for folks so that they could watch it, and I just couldn't get the darn thing to render. I'm saying darn because I don't want to swear, not because of any stupid, just don't feel like swearing today. Well, I do, but anyway, yeah, just couldn't get it to render, and I didn't want to go back or change render settings. Switch PCs, it worked. Was very confused. In the end, I did end up changing the render settings. Yeah, so I am expecting that I'll have that slight challenge with this video. Well, I'll just have to accept that I need to run the older codec to get it to render. It's a bit of a pain, and I need to potentially try and work out why it works on one computer and not on the other. Yeah, so that's that. The other cooler thing, I went to a farm today, not for anything more significant than buying yummy milk. I've mentioned it. I used to mention it before. I used to go there basically every week to buy our milk, and I was out purchasing dog food. So our dogs for a long time, so our previous dogs as well, are raw fed, and that means we have to go, well, you can get it delivered, you can buy it from some pet shops, but we buy it from a local company. It's good to support local business, and it also happens to be a cheaper way of buying it, so it's kind of a win-win. Because if you go buy it from them, from their factory's probably a grantor, but where they produce the food, you get a bulk discount. So when we had 4 fairly large dogs, it was a much cheaper way of feeding them, and we've stuck with the same supplier. So it was doing that, and basically this farm is on the way back, and I haven't been in there for ages because I'd kind of stopped. It was like after picking the food up, I just wanted to go home, and I decided today, for some reason, to stop in there to pick up some milk, and it is so much better. It's so much better. It's just like standard unhomogenized whole milk, so the cream separates out and it's fresh from the farm. And actually, thinking about it, it's probably about what I pack. So I buy, when I do our shopping, I tend to buy the same 1 litre, just under 2 pint size serving of unhomogenized whole milk, because I tend to drink one of those after I go for a long run, and I am back doing some running now, and so I tend to buy one of those as a post-run not treat, but like part of my post-run nutrition. Tend to try and avoid considering food as you treat. So yeah, it's part of my post-run nutrition. And like price-wise, I actually think it might be cheaper buying it direct, and it's really nice milk. It's really tasty, and obviously it's pretty darn fresh because I think they fill the machine up every day, and I'm not sure how long it is from cow to machine, but if you buy supermarket milk in the UK anyway, typically it'll have a date on it that'll be anywhere up to a week that it's going to stay fresh. And that's after the fact that it's been taken from the farm and bottled and processed and stuff. And I'm not sure what they do on top of the pasteurization, because this milk is pasteurized, it's not raw milk, to keep it fresh, in inverted commas, for that long. Whether it's a difference in the pasteurization process, I don't know. But this stuff is obviously coming pretty fresh out of the cow. I think it's, within a day, I would guess. I have read their website, it does say, and it's kind of, that kind of order of magnitude. But they recommend you consume it within like 3 days. So maybe it's not heated as much in the pasteurization process. It certainly tastes much fresher and much nicer. And I guess all of this kind of rambling on is kind of to suggest, yet again, when I go and experience this stuff, because it's really good. And my experience always of buying from a local farm is go support your local farmers, folks. I live in I live in a fairly built-up area. I am literally on the edge of a bunch of fields. But equally, I am on the edge of a town. I'm not that far from London. But I've also still managed to find a local farm that I can go buy fresh milk from. Just from Googling it, pretty much. So I would be very surprised at wherever you live if, assuming you have access to an automobile and you travel a little bit, whether you can't do something. And now I'm going to caveat that because it's not always cheaper, and I know not everyone has spare cash, and if you don't, that's fine. Do what you need to do to feed yourself and all that kind of stuff. Not everyone is in a position where they can spend a bit more on food and stuff. For me, that nice milk is what some people might do instead of, going for a pint. I don't drink alcohol. Partly because I can't drink alcohol. Partly because I just choose not to as well. But the meds that I'm on and headaches and stuff mean that I can't. But equally, I most often would choose not to anyway. Because I suffer with pretty rough hangovers. I'm going to drop that there. I just want to check something on the cedar. But yeah, if you're in a position to, I think it's quite cool to try and support local farmers. And I'm pretty sure that so there are a couple of people, I thought this would let me do soybeans, but obviously not. So we need to unload this guy and get ourselves a cedar. Bosh. I guess at that point we can return that as well, so I don't end up leasing a load of them. John Deere. You go back. Okay. Back into the store. Vehicle. No, that's not what I meant to do. Escape, escape, escape. P. You planters. Now, do we have... So that's a direct planter, but it's only 4 meters. That's not even at the end of the world. I would like a direct one for the precision farming bonus. You're not direct. You're not. You're not. You are not. You are not. So, I guess. Have a look at you. You're kind. I'm never a fan of these excessively long but narrow jobbies. You do take seed and fert though. Do I care about the precision farming direct drilling bonus that much? If I was not to use it in 150 horsepower, this is going to be the deciding factor, I think. That's got 190. I mean, we could swap tractors, but even so, we've still got 225. So 100. Let's say we've got 190 horsepower to work with. I think we're going to use this guy. Let's lease you. Yes, thank you very much. I should have checked the sales. So tempted by the trailers all the time. There's a cheap bag of fur. You should pick that up. Always make use of cheap fertilizer, especially in these times with fert prices and all that. You are a cultivator. You are a seeder. So, nope. You are there. And then what we want is the tank. Is that guy. We'll lease you as well. I'll drop off the front weight. Go. And then, yeah, I wonder how much seed goes in the seeder. Good question. Well asked. Let's put seed in first. And I guess let's just fill this thing up first. It's going to hold 400 liters of seed. And really not very much fertilizer. Okay, so we want to put fertilizer in the bin on the front. So I think 400 liters of seed will be enough. Let's fill you up. And what I think we'll do is we will go get this guy going on the little cornfield. And what I'm going to do is, I think, set it to do partial fertilization initially. Or do we? Here's the other question. Do I hold off and spread some digestate first? So let's have a look in here. Go into precise farming. Go to nitrogen. That's not too bad for nitrogen, actually. I think we go with it on this one. Spin around. have we got any gasoline? And by gasoline, I mean diesel, but, you know, we do. 96 litres. That'll give us a bit of a splash of diesel. Go. So we need to buy more diesel. Okay, we've got cash, so we should be fine. Now let's run up to the furthest field and get this going. It shouldn't take long to plant it with a 6-metre planter. And it's just environmental bonus we're losing out on, which is just price for selling things, and we're not doing too bad for cash, so I am not too worried on that front. I'm still undecided if we knock a bunch of money off the loan or buy the new tractor. I kind of feel like with where we are at the moment, we can make do with the tractors we've got. Still want to get the bigger John Deere, but I think with the rate that we're making money, it might make more sense to pay off money off the loan so that we're not paying interest, and then borrow money for the tractor maybe and then repay it faster. Or just buy it outright if we can afford it. That's kind of my thinking. But yeah, we're in a okay place for nitrogen, so I think we just take this one all the way up now. So having said that, we can't finish it, but let's do a special redemption of, say, 100,000. And that will reduce our interest payment. And then let's go into courseplay and fieldwork settings. We want 2 headlands should be enough. We will start working on the headland because that's how I do my planting. You might do it differently, and that's absolutely fine. I'm going to delete that. We're going to go again. Fieldwork settings, sharpen headland corners, activated number of round corners 1. Hopefully that will give us a sharper corner. It does. First waypoint, and off you go. And hopefully that'll do a thing. Planting corn. Check crop rotation. So that is corn. Yep. Sweet. So back to this job. And I think probably if we can get this baling finished, we will be in a good position and done for today's ski. So yeah. It's been a pretty good day today. Apart from I have felt absolutely exhausted all day, pretty much. Similar, yes, actually most of this week I felt pretty exhausted. Thinking back, so it's been a short week this week with work in the UK because we had the old bank holiday. And I was just thinking back on Tuesday. I think I recorded the farm sim video on Tuesday, I think. But I was really tired that day as well, because I forced myself to go out for a run before I did the YouTube thingy, because I went for a run as soon as I finished work. And then yesterday I felt pretty darn tired because I was recovering from 2 days in the office being around people, and then today I've equally been quite tired. It's been a tired week, so yeah, it is what it is, I guess. So Works implemented this one new rule, and so for some of you, you'll be sitting there going, well, you bloody should be, and some of you who understand work from home and the types of jobs that you know, different types of jobs will side more with me. that work has recently implemented a you have to go into work 3 days a week rule on average. And it's been kind of an interesting thing in that they have spoken very much about how they want to consult with the staff and understand the staff's needs and all that kind of thing. And basically, for the since the big pandemic thing, lots of people have worked from home a lot more, and kind of the work have adjusted to that, and the facilities have declined a lot. And I think they've taken advantage of that. And then suddenly they've gone, no, we all want you all to come back to work at least 3 days a week. They've employed people based solely on you don't have to come to work. You can work from home, and suddenly that's all gone. And there are people who are based even further from work than I am, employed on the premise that flexible working was a thing. But I'm not going to get into that. But from my point of view, obviously with Mrs. D's health problems, we rely on my flexible working nature to be able to adjust around her and kind of be able to look after her. And she got her health problems started getting really bad post pandemic or around the pandemic, not related to the pandemic, but and so having an employer who's kind of a strategy with dealing with people who have these kind of circumstances, because there are quite a lot, is basically that we're very sorry, but come to work, she's like, okay, great. And they now seem to be dealing with a lot of employment law questions and cases and things, and Workers' Rights Act. I think this is the Workers' Rights Act from 2010, or Equality at Work Act 2010. I think that's the jobby, which protects workers' rights for people who have, like disabilities and all sorts of other things, which means that they are entitled to be able to work equally, even if they can't come to work. And yes, it's really basic things. Like, if I'm going to spend all day sat in a virtual meeting, because slight rant coming, a lot of my customers don't want to meet in person because they don't want to travel to a meeting. They work at home, and if I'm going to be sat in a Teams meeting all day, can't do that at my desk because that annoys the people that you share an office with. I think that's rude. Some people do that. I think that's rude. So it means I've got to go to a meeting room, which means there's no point in me being in the office. And that means if I'm in a meeting room, the setup is inferior. I should be at home because it's more efficient and more useful. But that's not what our senior management think. They want us to collaborate more with our customers, and our customers want to do that virtually. And they ain't going to travel to our sites for a few-hour meeting. But that's been causing a little bit of stress lately. Apart from the fact that I realised I worked out, we had a collection of information randomly, not at all so we can use it against people who say this is not possible, honest governor. And it turns out that on average, over the right time period, I kind of do that, but partly because I travel a lot for my job. Doesn't mean I'm in the office. It means I'm in different places. But yeah, I don't often whinge about. Well, I don't often rant about specifics of my job. But anyhow, I think it's probably been the case for a lot of people who have been doing work from home and that kind of thing, that companies want to mandate people no longer work from home. And because clearly you work harder if you're in the office, rah, But actually, no, I personally, I find it much harder to work in the office. We have a lot of building work going on our site, which means there's a lot of drilling and hammering and banging, and I can't freaking concentrate if I'm in the office. So, you know, I'm literally sat there with noise-cancelling headphones in half the day to try and be able to concentrate, because my job involves me doing things like reviewing documents and reading and writing documents, and try doing that when there's a hammer drill going off. But, you know, the people that come up with these brilliant ideas don't consider things like that. So, thankfully, my boss is somewhat considerate, mostly because he doesn't give a shit because he's about to retire. Which has its benefits and sometimes doesn't have its benefits. Anyway, that's enough of me giving away things that give little bits of hints of who and what I am. And we will carry on baling stuff. I had an idea for a mod, actually, which I'm not going to make because I really can't be asked at the moment. I saw there was the Start From Spring mod was updated the other day, and it made me think it'd be kind of cool to have a mod that was basically start at any month. I guess more useful for the roleplay type people, but equally if you're doing, and personally, I can do that because you just use F12 and you just skip ahead to whatever month. And it's the same with Start From Spring. If you want to start a save in spring, you just skip time. But anyway, yeah, I wondered, kind of jumped in my head as I was, we're out of net rolls. Okay, so let's purchase round balers, consumables, round bale net. I'm going to buy the smallest amount possible, although I would at some point like to purchase a round baler because they're kind of useful. They are kind of useful. Yeah, kind of jumped into my head as a mod that might help people. Or, like I say, just install easy dev tools. People seem to like things like start in spring, so yeah. Was a thought. I have thoughts sometimes, folks. Kind of amuses me. So and I'm sure most of you are aware I have made a couple of mods. Not many. I did more in FS22, obviously. And I did a bunch of FS22 mods that weren't on ModHub or modding adjacent to. And I've got to say, it's been a lot less stressful with FS25 not doing any of that, because I don't have to care and look to see if people have stolen my stuff. And like every time a map came out with FS22, particularly one that claimed to have custom growth, I had to download it and check they hadn't stolen the stuff that I did. Well, I didn't have to, but I did. And if I didn't, one of you was checking for me and would let me know. And yeah, it was unnecessary stress. So it's nice not having that this time around. And you may or may not be aware, I've made a couple of mods for Project Motor Racing when it came out, because I got kind of excited about that. I haven't played that game in a little while, just because, you know, I've kind of cut down on the games that I'm making content on, and I've been playing other video games. I mostly like playing that with the wheel, and I haven't felt like dragging the wheel out in a little while. That's pretty much it. Not because of some other grand conspiracy that the developers of the game are evil or anything like that, or other games are better. If you've got those comments, you can stick them where the sun don't shine. Thank you very much. I equally have not played any of the other racing games that I have available to download and install, which include probably the other ones you're going to recommend that I should play instead. Anyway, but yeah, the thing that amuses me is, well, one, I haven't looked super recently, but my FS22 mods are still getting downloaded because people are still playing that game. And B, particularly the Project Motor Racing mods did relatively well in terms of income. They were paying more than Farm Sim mods were. I think probably because they were short of mods, but I still get a little bit from Giants every month or two for being a modder. You know, not a lot. Not a lot. I buy you a little takeaway every month, but you know, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Will I make mods in FS20, whatever the next one is? I don't know. I'll probably do the same couple again, maybe, if I'm still playing the game and interested. And realistically, I should probably do some updates to some of the ones that I've got now. I don't know. Mental energy's not been in abundance for spec stuff like that. So, yeah. That's why I still haven't done the moisture system video, because it requires mental energy. There is not a lot of that. But, yeah, I need to phone. You may remember I injured my shoulder. Still injured. I have a physio appointment booked with the doctor. I've got to wait just over 2 more weeks for it, but I need to cancel it. Well, not cancel it, move it. They phoned me up on a day when I wasn't at work, so I didn't have access to my work diary, and it turns out it's on a day when I'm in a different part of the country, and I'd forgotten the specific dates. So I need to cancel it and then rebook it, which means it's probably going to be even further away. Yeah, I would say I forgot, but I just didn't have the spare brain energy units to do it once I realised. Yeah. Must do that next week. Oh well. Oh well. We are nearly done. How many bales have we made? I don't know because I didn't reset it. Nope. Nope. Nobody. Nope. 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 You. Statistics. Bales produced 51. That's quite a lot because that's over 250,000 litres of silage. That is a lot of silage on top of what we produced in March. We are going to have a rather large stock of silage, which is good because it's got to last us. Well, it hasn't, because we're going to be producing the corn silage and more grass silage, but you know, the cows eat a lot, folks. The cows eat a lot. Even though there aren't many of them, they do eat rather a lot. So if I go into time-saving stock check, we have nearly 500,000 litres of grass and 100,000 litres of silage. So what we need to produce next is more hay. We have about 100,000 litres of hay, so we've got enough to make about 200,000 litres of food, which is a couple of months worth of food. It's not great. It's not great. So can I cannot. So I cannot unload the baler, so we're going to lose out on some netting, but I guess it came full. So let's go into the store, and it's under Pufferfent, unlike Timberborn developers who can't spell with their U, or you can't believe it's not B for boom, and their B for copy, or H for boom even. Let's return you. Yep. How are we doing with courseplay? We are pretty much done. And you, sir, are going to be our thumbnail. Oh, I really don't like that you can see the course. So we are going to deceive you and remove the course. So you think I did all of the work, at least until you get to the point where I enabled courseplay. How deceptive of me. I'm a bad person, aren't I? Yes, well, not really. I'm not super evil. I'm just like minorly evil. But yeah, it's pretty good. We've missed a couple of bits, so I'll need to fill those in. But overall, the field is looking pretty darn good, actually. Good job done, courseplay. So we need to collect the bales, but that can wait, really. We need to roll this field. We need to plant. It's interesting that it didn't do the on part of the field there. It's not used any fertilizer. Does it have like buy the things set on at workers? Nope. Courseplay setting. Refill tool deactivated. Sowing machines use fertilizer is deactivated. Okay, so we weren't applying fertilizer. Fair enough. So I don't forget, let's activate that. And I guess we'll need to come back and fertilize that field. Well, gosh darn it, folks. That was fucking stupid of me, wasn't it? See what I did there with like the not swearing and then swearing over the top. It's funny, wasn't it? It's funny. And so this field is also going to be corn. So we'll poise this here. It seemed actually to do an okay job with the seeding, so maybe we won't change over tractors. But I'm going to call it a day there, folks. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, stick them below. Thank you to patrons and the YouTube channel members, and I will see you guys next time. Yeah, hopefully I will. You better come back.